Okay.
We got
oh my goodness, we got here in the end. Welcome to another episode of the I.N.O podcast. I have my beautiful sister here with me today. It took us 10,000 years to get here, but we are here. And today we're going to talk about motherhood. Okay, so today we're literally talking about the complexity of motherhood. Because motherhood and all its glory and joy and stuff, but I feel like motherhood is so complex. Like, there's so much that goes into it that before I became a mother, I didn't realize.
Oh, definitely.
So I was like, what better person to bring on than my very own sister? Not just sister, like people say, oh, your sis. Oh, sis, my sis. No, this is my blood sister. Like, sister. Same mama, same papa or daddy.
Raised together.
Exactly.
Sister. Yeah.
Squabbles and all
the whole shebang.
So my actual sister, she is such a super mom. She literally does it all. I don't know how she does it. So I was like, what better person to bring on than my own sister? So yeah, literally we're going to dive into it, talking about just the complexity, like how to even start it off. Like, when did you become a mum? That's probably where we should start. When did you actually become a mum?
Yeah, I suppose that is the best place to start. I became a mum by birth. I say by birth because, I was a mum before I was a mum.
Yeah.
But yeah, I became a mum when I was 20, and then I turned 21 just shortly after.
So to some people, that's quite young, even though obviously I had Jay younger, which I'll tell everyone about in a minute. But yeah, 20 is quite young.
Yeah, I think at the time, honestly, I didn't think I was very young. I felt like, I'm grown and I've got this figured out. This is going to be so simple. This is going to be easy. I'm prepared for this.
We all feel like we have it figured out until we actually step into it.
I think in hindsight, I look back and I'm like, I was a baby. Where I've come from and where I am now, I'm like, I knew nothing. I thought I knew it all. I thought I had it all figured out.
Nothing.
And I knew nothing. I was a baby. And so I would say that I was quite young. I consider myself a young mum. Yeah. For sure.
That's like me. Well, obviously, for those who actually know me, I had Jaden, so my firstborn, at 18 years old. Like, that is crazy. When I look at 18-year-olds now, I'm just looking like, no. You guys don't even know how to tie a shoelace properly, some of you.
Listen.
So I can imagine now, like, watching Nan and stuff, the way that they were like, obviously I had him so young, so they were so disappointed. But they had every right to be, because I was such a baby, very immature in my mind. I thought I had it all figured out.
Yeah,
like what
we always do.
But I knew nothing. If I knew half of what I knew now, I would have got a lot of better choices. But yeah, I love my baby, my big boy. So you became a mum at the tender age of 20.
Yeah.
And what was it like for you? Like the first few weeks, even.
Yeah. Obviously, you have that immediate like bliss where you're like, oh, my baby's finally here, and you get to smell their head, and you're like, oh, you're just a little milky baby. And it was just, So I had that little blissful bubble, but it very quickly was burst. I'm like, I can't even lie. It burst very quickly in that, don't get me wrong, I was still so like in awe of God and looking at her. And I'm just like, this is my precious baby. But I got home, and once everybody had left, you had left and gone back to your life, and all my visitors had gone, as a single parent, it was like, I'm by myself now. And obviously with my first birth, with TJ, I had an episiotomy. So I was in that like very tender healing process. I mean, for all mothers, no matter how you give birth, your body's tender and you've got that healing process going or whatever. But I had a physical wound that I couldn't even sit straight. And
I forgot about that.
I just remember the moment that it really sunk in for me, like, wow, this is going to be tough. I was sitting on the sofa I was nursing her. And at the time, I didn't know she had her tongue tied, remember?
Yes.
And so she struggled. She was struggling to latch. And I had to sit at this like really funny angle just to be comfortable. And I remember holding her, trying to nurse, and her latch wasn't working and I couldn't get the right angle, but I was in so much pain. And in that moment, I was like, what? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I was stuck in a position holding her and I had no way to get up. I couldn't stand because of the pain, but I also couldn't just shuffle over because I'm holding my newborn baby. And I just remember her crying, me crying. I was just like, I remember bursting into tears like, baby, I'm so sorry, but I don't know what to do right now. And I literally had to just like hold her and throw myself off the sofa because there was no other way to get up. And those initial weeks, I think, really did hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I said, it wasn't all bad, of course.
Yeah.
It was also such a beautiful experience, but it was a reality check.
Yeah.
It was a reality check.
It's like the best job in the world, but it's the hardest, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the best way to put it, honestly.
That reminds me of like this. I went through a similar thing, and obviously you probably would know about it, but I remember when I first gave birth to Jaden, he, at this point, I think he was a few months old. So he would have been about maybe 6 months or so. So not a fresh newborn baby. But even at that stage, like I was adjusting to the newfound level of sleep deprivation.
Girl,
let's talk about it.
Tell me about
sleep deprivation. And I remember being on my monthly cycle and I was in so much pain because I had really bad menstrual cramps at the time. And I remember him crying, like literally burst into tears. He was crying, he was screaming. And I remember sitting on the sofa like, I have to get up. But everything inside of my body was like, just lie there. You need to rest. You need to heal. But I was like, I can't. I need to get up. There's no one else here.
No option.
I was a single mum at the time and I was just like, I have to get up. And in that moment, something inside of me clicked that this is no longer about you. Like, forget about it. Forget about, I'm going to lay in. Forget about all of the things that you take for granted, I think, in your teenage years. It reminded me, or shall I say, in that moment, something just clicked in me and I realized it's no longer about me.
Yeah.
And it literally is the best job in the world, but it is the hardest.
It really is. It genuinely is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life.
I mean, oh my gosh, okay, we're going to get into it. But that actually brings me to my next point because I feel like before you have kids, there's certain things that you've, like how you think it will be like versus how it actually is.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you about perhaps a couple of things that maybe you thought it was going to be like for actually becoming a mom and how, because even parenting two different children is a whole new level. So let's talk about maybe a couple of things that you thought it was going to be like versus what it's actually like.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the first thing that really stood out to me was routine. Okay. So prior to being a mum, I mean, you obviously know this about me, but for the viewers, I was so routine oriented, very structured. I lived my whole life. You know, I could tell you in which hour I was going to be doing what in which day, you know, like everything.
We love schedules.
Schedules, routines.
We love schedule people.
Organized to the T's. And I just remember the first thing that I was like, this is nothing like what I expected, is when I realized just how unpredictable parenting was. You cannot tell your baby when to sleep, when to cry, when they're going to need a nappy change, when they're going to have an explosion and you need to change the clothes. You could be going out the door.
Oh my gosh, the tsunamis.
Literally tsunamis. You could be on your way somewhere, about to go out the door, and you hear the one explosion and you're like, well, that's it. My timing. I thought I had timings down pat and now I need to go and change my baby and find new clothes and all of these things. And there was a very stark contrast between what I thought it was going to be as a parent. I thought I was going to be like, I'm going to sleep train my baby and I'm going to nap when the baby, you know how they say nap when the baby naps, and have all of these things prepared and perfectly pureed foods and all of these things. I was like, I've got this. I'm an organized person. Of course, this is going to be easy, right? I thought I knew it all. And then when I was actually put into it, I was like, there is no way I'm going to be able to hold on to what I thought this was going to be like. I can't have control over many of the outcomes during my day.
Because it will also make you not depressed, because a lot of the people do go through postnatal depression, which is, quite sad, and it's quite frustrating for a lot of new mums. But that expectation of what it's going to be like, if you hold on to that, that can actually make you depressed, because you're not experiencing that reality.
100%, exactly. I think that a lot of depression does stem from that. And, obviously I've had my own experiences with that. But I think a lot of depression triggers do stem from an expectation that's not being met. A dream that or a fantasy that you have, and then the reality hits and it's like, this doesn't even match up, and it leaves you feeling quite lost. And so I had a perfect picture of what I thought parenting would be like. I did think that, I would get to a point where I've got, even just a loving partner, and I would have this picture perfect household where my children get up and we bake cookies and you think,
I was about to say the American dream, but we're in the UK, so
the London dream, the UK dream,
United Kingdom dream.
But yeah, I did. Even though you kind of check yourself, you're like, I know everything's not going to go exactly the way I want, but you still have high hopes. You still believe that the fantasy version of yourself, the fantasy version of your life, will be at least somewhat similar to what the reality will be. But I think pretty much in every area, parenting has been completely different to what I told myself it would be beforehand. It's just been,
I remember growing up, I wasn't the type to I didn't dream about having kids and being married, but I remember at a certain point in my life, I was like, oh, babies, they look so cute, and I want to have a baby one day and stuff like that. But I always imagined having a lot of children.
Me too.
And I remember having Jay, and everyone around me, my sister's laughing because she knows exactly what I'm going to say, but everyone around me, I would tell my best friend at the time, my sister, everyone, I'll be like, I'm never having another child.
Yeah.
Because Jay, I love him so much, but as a young toddler child, he was needy. He never slept until he was 2 years old, a full night. So I was like, is this how it is for all kids? Why is he not sleeping? He would not sleep.
Yeah. I
feel like
that.
Then it's all doctors and stuff didn't do as much assessments, and they didn't help as much as they do now.
I think understanding child development, neurodivergence, all of that kind of stuff has evolved a lot, especially within the last few years. But I think back then it was kind of just like, well, all children are different. Just carry on, get used to it. You'll be fine.
I was like, my boy is different. He has so much energy. He's not doing something.
He was a little fireball.
So I feel like it definitely what's the word? A rude awakening. Because I did think it was going to be easy breezy.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of sleepless nights here and there. Maybe I couldn't go out as much, but apart from that, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize the mental toll it would take on me.
That one right there.
It's the mental toll that shocked me, because I didn't realize everything around me would change, my relationships.
Yeah.
I was the youngest of, I think, my friendship group at the time to have a child.
Yeah.
I was the youngest out of the cousins.
Yeah. Yeah, you were.
At the time. So in our family, on both sides, I was the youngest to have a child. Actually, I think on mum's side, there was, But I just remember the mental toll and the mental load it took on me to not only, to your point, getting rid of the idea that I had in my head, but then also the sleep deprivation with the loss of friendships, with the now a different level of financial burden.
And
it's
so a huge transition.
It's such a huge transition.
It's a massive transition to go from being a single person, single meaning childless, to being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
It is a huge, huge transitioning process. And like you said, when you were saying that Jay was 6 months old and you were still, it takes years sometimes. Like, you'll think like, you know, oh, within a few months' time, I'll have this figured out. Like, it can take years.
On your body and your...
Yeah. I mean, they say like 18 months or so for your body to even get back to relatively normal, like a safe spot. And so going into it, I never even realized that even the transition process would take that long.
Yes.
It was, yeah.
There's so much that we've learned along the way.
Definitely.
Like, even just with patience, like, how do you think patience has been a pivotal role? Or shall I say, what role has patience played in mothering for you?
I think it's key for most things. That's the truth. I can't even say,
talk about
it's just here. It's just there. It's the key. Parenting takes so much patience. It takes so much patience. And I'm going to keep it real. Before becoming a parent, I used to kind of pride myself on the fact that I was impatient. I'd be like, no, I don't have time for this. No. I like things done like this. Yep. Chop, chop, chop. Let's keep it moving.
That's the dad in us.
Yeah. Literally. Like, even like driving, I'd be like, I don't have time to be doing slow. Can you just get out I was always very impatient. And I remember TJ maybe being about, let's say about 7 months old. You know how they do their little shape sorting things? And I remember sitting with her one day and she was trying to put the pieces in. And I was like, okay, like, oh, where do you think this one goes, baby? And obviously she was still so young.
Yeah.
But I had this like very clear moment of realizing that allowing my children to grow up the way I wanted them to grow up and not try to continue generational things was going to require me to become a completely different version of myself. I was going to have to cut out some of the things that I held on to for so long, the things that I wanted to have control over. I had to let it go. And I was like, I want my child to be able to figure things out on her own. And I want her to be able to, you know, go through her childhood in the way that's, you know, comfortable to her and is going to lead her in the way that God wants her to grow. And so I was watching her do her little shape sorting and I was like, there's a part of me that's like, okay, but it's a triangle, just the triangle goes there, you know, like mentally I'm like, well, you know, this should be so simple. And I was like, but I have to let my little baby do this in her way in order for her to develop in the way she's supposed to. And that was a very stark reminder that patience was going to be what drives pretty much all of my parenting choices.
Talk about it.
And still to this day, I'm still having to
every day
check myself.
It's daily.
Sometimes not even just day, it's hourly. Sometimes it's within, 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, all right, let's just take a deep breath. Like parenting is a lot of deep breaths. Okay. But patience, I would say, is definitely key in that as our children grow, we've been gifted the opportunity to parent these children, but they're not ours, They are not our possessions. They are God's children.
Yeah.
Like, the Lord has gifted us the opportunity to parent these children. And I think sometimes I even think my children are even parenting me in a way, like they're helping me to just grow so much and learn so much along the way.
It's so true.
And so when it comes to patience, I think it's just so important to remember that God is in control, first of all, and that because we know God is in control, it comes down to us, I suppose, surrendering the hurry and the snappy attitude when our kids are not doing what we want them to do.
Yes.
And I told you to do it right now and you need to do it now. Like, patience is so pivotal in allowing God to mold your children in the way he sees fit, not just the way we believe our children should be. And girl, I'm still learning. I'm not a patience guru. I need to keep growing in that area, but I'm glad you asked me about patience because, whew, I mean,
you're doing a pretty damn good job, girl.
Thanks, honey.
If I might say so myself.
I mean, you know I look up to you anyway because you truly are super mom.
I know, you literally are homeschooling. You literally like, and all of that I feel like is a part of you surrendering and saying, this is what I want my children to be able to grow up in, this level of freedom.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take these steps, although it might not be ideal for me.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do to help in their development. And
Yeah.
I find that is such a strong thing to do because nowadays we always want to take the easy way out. And I can attest to that. At some point in my parenthood, my motherhood, I have taken the easy route because I'm just like, I can't deal with this right now. I don't want to. But it's such a beautiful thing to even hear you say, like, your kids have almost parented you.
Yeah.
Because I find that a lot about Kay. Like, so
yeah,
my middle boy, he is so different to me. Like, so different.
Yeah.
Like, La knows he is just so different. He is very opinionated.
Yeah.
He's very strong-willed. Like,
yeah.
And there's been times I've just looked at him like, I wish I was like this as a child, but I wasn't. And so it's almost like it sounds a bit cringe to say, it's almost like he's healed the inner child in me.
Oof, girl.
Like he healed me in a sense, or is still healing me, like the inner child who maybe felt like she couldn't speak as much.
Yeah.
And she couldn't stand up for herself. He just tells me stuff like, no, mom.
Yes. He says it how it is. He does not even play. Like, and I love it. I love it about him. I love it. And he's so matter of fact. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you are, what time of day it is. He is going to lay out as it is. And with a straight face as well. Like, I love it. I love it.
Sometimes I have to like look at him like, reel it in and stop. But
oh, God.
I'm just like, this is me. And he's actually not afraid.
Yeah.
And that's what I find so healing. He's not afraid.
Beautiful.
If I don't want to do this, I'm not going to do it. If I don't want to, I don't know, it comes even down to silly things like eating and stuff. But yeah, he's much better at it now, but he just gives it to you like it is. Yeah. And I really, really love and appreciate that about him. He's so sure of himself. I think that's
I was literally just thinking that.
Yeah, he's so sure of himself. So yeah, definitely that level of like parenting that turns everything on its face and almost makes you look at yourself like, wow.
You're literally just speaking my mind because as you're like, I was just thinking the same thing, like parenting is like a mirror. And I'll be honest and say there's been many moments throughout my parenting journey, even then becoming a mother of two, that big transition from being a mum of one to having two children and stuff. There's been so many times throughout my motherhood journey where I've looked at my children and I can feel myself like getting irritated or annoyed about something. And God has literally like, he has literally in those moments been like, but the same thing you're annoyed about in your child right now is you. This is an attribute that they get from you. Ooh. Okay. And so it's annoying. You know how they say when you're so similar, like when you're very similar to someone, you can clash, you butt heads kind of thing. It can be the same with your children, obviously. And so sometimes, I mean, I can't think of specific examples, but there's sometimes that my children would do things and I'm like, why can't we just, and then I have to stop and I'm like, I struggle with the same thing. Like, I struggle with the same thing.
Yeah.
Or like TJ, for example, you know, like I might give her an instruction and I'm like, can you please make sure that you do such and such? And she's like, okay, mom, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll do that. And then, you know, 20 minutes pass and I'm like, Plum, did you do what I asked you to do? And she's like, oh no, mom, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I'll go do it. And then in another 10 minutes, I'm like, did you do it? She's like, no, I forgot. And sometimes I'm like, how many times I've got to ask you? Okay. And then again, God is like, but how many times I got to ask you? Okay. Okay. How many times do you have to remind yourself to do things?
Yes.
Like, how many things in my day to day? And okay, fair enough. I have a bigger load because I'm an adult. I'm the parent of the household. But, you know, you have to look at things in the right context. You know, they're only children. And so their load is just enough for them.
Yeah.
And so how many times do I forget to carry out a specific task? And I'm like, oh, I forgot to do that again. And I forgot to do this. And so when my children are being forgetful, or when my children are not understanding a clear instruction, I'm like, rather than just feeling the frustration I'm feeling towards them, I need to look inwardly and be like, okay, I need to address this from a place of compassion because I also struggle with the same things.
Yes.
And if I'm a grown adult and I'm struggling with it still, why are my expectations for you as my child to be that because I've told you once, twice, 15 times, you should just get it. You should understand it.
Yeah.
And so I'm constantly having that shift. Like you said, that mirror is being turned back on me. And I suppose that's what also like makes me feel like my children are parenting me as I watch them grow. And it's just such...
It's so challenging, but it's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. And it's hard. I'm not going to lie. It is so hard. I think it's easy to look at people from the outside and be like, oh, it looks like their parenting life is so easy.
Yeah.
Oh, the kids are so well behaved.
Yeah, and very polite.
They're so well put together. They're so sweet. They're so kind. And of course, they are sweet and they are kind, but they got their rebellious side too. They've got the, you know, the back chat and all of those things. And so, yeah, parenting, just like you said at the very beginning, parenting is the most rewarding, beautiful experience I have ever had, while simultaneously being the most challenging, for sure.
I'm telling you.
Right.
And I want to talk about something because you mentioned something a bit earlier, neurodivergence.
Yeah.
So obviously, could you like explain what that is and I guess how you're navigating that?
Yeah. So just to begin, neurodivergence essentially just means that all brains are wired completely differently.
Yes.
And so we have all different neurotypes. Neurotypical brains are essentially the majority. What most people's brains tend to function like, how you tend to perceive things. Obviously, again, we are still all individuals, but you kind of come under a particular bracket.
Yeah, majority.
Whereas being neurodivergent means that your brain isn't wired in the way the majority's brains are wired. And so, again, for the viewers, I myself am neurodivergent. I'm autistic, I've got ADHD, and both of my children are also neurodivergent. And so having a household with 3 neurodivergent females, to be precise, 3 females together in itself is like fire. All being neurodivergent, it can be quite challenging. And I'll explain why. There are some things that I struggle with the most in terms of my neurodivergence. So like I'm hypersensitive. For example, I'm hypersensitive to sound, to smells, to touch even. And so being a parent to 2 different children as well. So, you know, yes, we're all neurodivergent, but our brains are not exactly the same, as with any household, of course, but our needs can be very specific. And so when I may need, you know, quiet and peace for my brain to be able to process what's going on at this particular time, my children, one or both of them, may need to self-stimulate. And that could be through dancing around the house and banging their hands together, or, you know, my little one, Zay, screaming at the top of her lungs is her way of like getting that kind of sensory release. And it can be so difficult having those moments where our sensory needs are completely clashing with each other.
Yes.
You know, it's like, it doesn't always align. Don't get me wrong. There are many times where you know, it aligns perfectly. And I give God thanks for that. Where, you know, we all need some downtime, or we all need some quiet time, or we all want to dance and have a dance party and be loud together. But it can be quite challenging having 3 different complex needs within the same household and trying to meet those things. But God, I have to. I genuinely don't even know a lot of the time how we function. I don't. When people ask me, like, "Oh, well, how are you doing such and such?" or "How do you manage to get through the week doing?" I often don't even have a true answer. I'm like, I sometimes think in my flesh, sometimes I think I've got the recipe. Like, you know, well, here's what I do. And I do A, B, C. Yeah. But the reality is, it is only God. Only God. It is only God. I mean, He made these 3 beautiful brains within my household. And even that, I mean, that's a story for another day. But even that took me a long time to even accept. Like, you know, my brain is the way it is because God made me so. And He also made my children so. And He alone knows why He put our 3 souls together to be mother and child. Yeah. And so getting through each and every day, obviously it does still take a lot of like planning, a lot of compromise and adjustments and things. Lots of opportunities are made for my children to get like sensory releases because I know that they need that. And I suppose learning about my own brain and learning about how, you know, I function and the things that help me also then helps me to understand my children and their complex needs.
Because you've done a lot of that. I feel like you've done a lot of like research. And you've not just taken something and just like run with it. You're like, no, I need to understand this in a greater, like, deeper. Yeah. And so I know for a fact you would have done more research to try to understand yourself and to try to understand how to parent your 2 beautiful girls. Because everybody talks about that. But I think even around neurodivergence, and there's so much that I think people don't realize that you deal with on a day-to-day, because when they see you outside, you look like you've got it all together. Yeah. Yeah. And I think we've been good at that for many years. Because growing up, we would always just put on a brave face, or no matter what was going on, we would always, like, I remember growing up in church, and like, people used to make fun of me, like, "Oh, don't you have any like dress down clothes? Like, you're always dressed up with dolly shoes and your hair all done." And so we know how to, I guess, put on a brave face. But I think the most refreshing thing, and I don't know about you, that's happened to me recently is me actually throwing my hands up and saying, I'm struggling. Yeah. Like, I am struggling. Like, I can't do it all. I can't. And so for me, just balancing motherhood on a level of full-time work and, you know, chasing a career, but also having desires that I know God's put in my heart. Yeah. While parenting children of totally different ages. So 16, 6 and 3, like, the 3-year-old feels like she runs the house. The 6-year-old is very strong-willed. The 60-year-old's just so lovely, but he's also obviously battling like his teenage years. And of course, all the things that come with that, and the Moncler jackets that cost £1,500. Like, he thinks I'm getting him.
The expensive taste. Tell me about it.
It's too much. So, I think that side of things, like, even though we've managed to make it look good for a long time, I think there's something so freeing recently in me just throwing my hands up and being like, I can't do it all. Like, this is too much. I actually need help. Yeah. And actually saying that out loud the other day, I felt a weight lifted off my shoulder, because you know what I'm like. Yeah. I am very like, no, I got it. Don't need it. No,
it's fine. I've got it. It's fine. Don't worry about me.
Literally, even earlier today, when we've come back after church, and my sister's like, right, so what can I help you do? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Yeah.
She wouldn't let me do a thing. Okay. I was just standing around like a piece of furniture. Like, is there something I can do? Can I? No, it's fine. I've got it. Sit down. Like, all the time. That's just our go-to,
you know what? For me, it was more because when I'm anywhere, I want to come and feel welcome. So I kind of treat people how I want to be treated. And so
yeah, girl.
I know when I come to yours, like you're literally in the kitchen, I'm sitting, I might ask you once or twice. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I just want you to feel comfortable. But I say that to say I've been very strong for a long time in all areas of my life. And in this particular area with regards to parenting and motherhood, there's something so freeing about just saying, I can't do it all. Like I'm not made to do it all. I'm not made to perfectly parent. You know, I struggle. I make mistakes. I know I made a lot of mistakes with Jay, my firstborn, and I think
firstborns are the guinea pigs.
I'm telling you,
they're the trials.
Firstborn here for definitely guinea pig.
Stop.
I love them. They did the best they could, but yeah, I think I made a lot of mistakes,
as we did.
Yeah, there's something just so freeing about it. So I thank God that we've actually reached a place where we know we can't do it all, but we're literally leaning on God every single day. So like, lastly, I wanted to talk to you about what does it look like leaning on God? Because some people might not understand, and some people watching might not believe in God, and they might be like, they don't have a proper relationship with him. And so does that look like going for a walk and talking to God? Does that look like prayer? Does it look like crying? What does it look like for you to lean on God with neurodivergence, with parenting neurodivergent children, and just everyday motherhood challenges? Like, what does leaning on God actually look like to you?
I mean, I'm going to have to summarize, because if
if
I get into it, we're going to be here till next week. And that's literally a whole video in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the examples you gave are literally what it looks like for me. And so, you know me, I'm a nature girl. I'm a bit of a hippie at heart. Like, I love the outdoors. I love my plants and things like that. And so I think tying neurodivergence, my really deep and spiritual relationship with God, and parenting, actually very nature-based. The more, as I'm thinking about it here, I'm like, it's actually very nature-based. And I've always loved nature, but I think long before I even truly found Christ, I was drawn to nature. But I think it's because I saw the beauty of God in it. And so leaning on God for me on a day-to-day basis, I have, guys, you haven't seen my house, but I have surrounded myself by plants, like with plants. I've got plants everywhere. Literally got a little greenhouse going on. Surrounded myself with plants. I love animals. So, you know me, I'll have my pets and I look out the window and things like that. But I say all of that to say that leaning on God often brings me to very still, quiet, observative moments. Like stopping. As a neurodivergent person, my brain doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It's a constant train going.
Yeah.
And so God often puts me in positions where I physically cannot carry on unless I stop and I'm like, God, my brain is on fire right now. My children, again, our needs are all completely different right now. There's so much going on. And God is like, be still. Just pause right now.
Ooh.
Sometimes it's just looking out the window.
Be still.
Sometimes it's taking up my watering can and just watering a plant, or even just touching a leaf. And God is like, in this very moment, just stop what you're doing. Put down the idea of all the 50 tasks that you need to be doing right now. And then the mum guilt that comes with it and all of that stuff. Just stop. Be still and understand that though God is such a complex God,
yes,
he is also a God of simplicity.
Oh, he is.
He's a God that brings me to my most like enlightening, spirit-filled moments when it's just so simple, when there's not a lot going on around me. It's like being in a desert kind of thing, you know, like, and so day by day, I lean on God in quiet moments. In the morning, I need it to be quiet, so I got to get up before my children. I need those quiet moments to be like, God, fill me up today.
Yes.
as I put my feet on the ground even, and I go about my morning, I need to lean on you here. But like I said, it's not just, okay, just here, and then I'm good for today. It's here, and then it's maybe 10 minutes later, then maybe it's 2 hours later. It's all throughout the day, but each and every time, God calls me to be still. It's different for everybody. Obviously, I'm sure like you can even talk about what it's like for you, but for me, I have to stop everything. I have to oftentimes even just close my eyes and be like, God, help my mind to be still so that I can hear from you.
Yes.
Because without hearing from you throughout my day, girl, the train wrecks of days that happen when I don't rely wholeheartedly on God. You know, when you have like the quick quiet time in the morning, that you're like, okay, well, you know, rushing around
if
doing
the
all the
quiet
things.
time ain't right, the day is like, it's set up for failure.
Literally, like the day is finished. And so, yeah, I think that genuinely summarizes day to day, without giving very specific examples, day to day, leaning on God while managing my own neurodivergent brain and trying to stay on top of it all is so complex, so nuanced, so individual for everybody. But it always comes back to being still with God. It always comes back to those moments of pausing, even the patience that we spoke about. Like you have to pause.
You have to.
It is impossible to become a patient person without learning that pause. You know, they even say things like with your babies, you should always learn to pause. When your baby's crying, you don't rush straight to them. You pause, you figure out what the cry is about.
Yeah, listen to the cues.
I'm sure you've had it. Your baby's done a poo and then, you know, you rush to go and change the nappy, and then immediately after, another one comes. And it's so important as parents, just as individuals, to learn that pause, whether it is that you have a relationship with God already or not, whether you've sought Christ or not in life, you will get much further, far deeper in your spirituality, emotionally, growing in your maturity, all of these things, when you learn the power of the pause.
That's the power of the pause. I love that. That is definitely my takeaway from this conversation. I think just like you, being still for me looks a little bit different, but it is in the sense taking a pause because I take time to pray.
Yeah.
When I'm just like, God, I can't do this.
Yeah.
There's been so many, I probably did it yesterday, like so many moments in parenting in my motherhood that I've just been like, God, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. My 3-year-old wants this. My 6-year-old is having a tantrum. My 6-year-old, you know, is going through his little phases and he needs my attention in a different capacity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't do this because I'm even trying to, you know, sort my own life out, sort my own brain out and trying to navigate what goes on up here as a mother. And it just means a lot for me and takes a lot of, I guess, practice, but just to take that time out, take yourself out of the situation and just be like, God, I can't do this. Yeah. That surrender, I think God really appreciates because it's like, oh, okay. So you're not trying to do it all. Yeah. Because I'm going to do it all, Betty. Like, I will just, from now, like, I can, of course I can.
I got it.
Like, you can't have a recipe. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why can't I?
But like, that's so ignorant of me to say. Back when I thought now that I am working a full-time job and mum of 3 lovely children and a wife and all the things that come with it, I think now more than ever, it means so much for me to take that time out of my day, however many times it is, because God's not tired of us.
Genuinely.
Whether it's 8 times, whether it's just the once, in general, to just be like, Lord, I need you. Yeah. Lord, come into this situation now, because how I feel is, I feel extremely angry. I feel extremely frustrated. Yeah. God, come now and help me. Oof. You know, that surrender. And I think God really honors that. Yeah. Because it means, oh, they need me still. Yeah. I just wanted to read something that I saw online. It says, mothering is the gospel lived out as you hold your child's heart in beauty, prayer, and patience. It's not the big decision, but the little ones. Trusting God through it all. Wow. By Elizabeth Horn. I thought
that one gave me goosebumps. I love that one.
Just spoke about that. So
I feel like that's like the perfect summary,
honestly, of
for everything we just spoke about.
Honestly. But God is good, and I know He'll continue to help us on our journey as the kids grow. And they're so beautiful, and I'm so glad they all get along. They have their little squibbles now and again, but
as kids
what
do.
Cousins do not have that. You know?
Yeah, they do have a beautiful relationship, and I'm so grateful that they have that.
Yeah,
I'm so grateful.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me, darling.
We call each other because it means before everybody but God.
My God.
Thank you so much. I love
you more, darling.
Thank you all for watching. We will see you next time. Bye.